Hello guys, and welcome to this EC Aquatics video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up an easy fish bowl for some endler live bearers. Fish bowls are often attacked and in the aquarium hobby, especially among people who prefer plant aquariums, and for good reason, because they're often small and people often don't know how to set them up right, and that's the biggest issue with them. Is not the fact that it's a fish bowl, but because somebody sets it up wrong. Throws a betta fish into a small half-gallon bowl with a pink gravel and a plastic plant without a filter or heater, and then they wonder why their fish is dead a month later, and that's because they didn't set it up right. But if you set it up correctly, a fish bowl can be a really nice addition to your fish room. Or if you don't have space for a large tank, a fish bowl can be perfect. So this is a 4-gallon fish bowl that I bought at Michael's for $20, and I will leave a link to this bowl down in the description of the video. It has a 12-inch circumference, and it is, I think, about 10 inches tall, and the opening's about 8 or 9 inches, which will make it relatively easy to escape this thing. For our nutrient layer, we're going to be using aqua soil, which I have poured into this mesh bag. And if you want to see how to do that, I have a short that's posted, and I'll pop a card up to it on the top right-hand corner of your screen. You can check that out if you want. And this is just going to keep the aqua soil contained within the bag and prevent it from sort of floating up and mixing with our decorative sand. And this way, the holes in the bag are big enough for the plant roots to get through, so the plants can get the nutrients that they need. That way we don't see the aqua soil and we can see our decorative sand, and there's no chance of a mixing. And we can reuse the aqua soil after the scape is broken down at some point and use it in another project. We will be planting this tank quite heavily because I'm not going to be using a filter on this tank, and I'm going to be relying on the plants and the deep substrate bed to filter the aquarium, so we'll definitely need a lot of nutrients what this will provide. So using plants like stem plants. And for our decorative sand layer, we're going to be using this grayish type sand. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's the same stuff that I used in my Blackwater aquarium. If you guys want to check out that video, I'll pop up a card to that as well. But we're going to add this into our bowl, and we're going to just make sure that there's enough depth to plant everywhere. I've laid out a whole bunch of different options for what I can use as a woodscape here, and I'm just gonna start playing around with these in the bowl. I'm not quite sure what I want to do yet, so I'll just play around with all this wood that I have, and I will sort of see what ends up materializing out of it. I now have several different points of contact, including connecting both pieces of driftwood and locking down individual pieces of driftwood to stones, and this should hopefully keep everything from floating up and disrupting the scape. And I've covered the cyanoacrylate super glue with just some sand out of the tank to hide it, because it'll turn white when it solidifies and gets touched by water. So this way it'll look much prettier. And the super glue gel is completely inert and safe for fish. I've used it many times, and a lot of people who've had much more experience than I have in the aquarium hobby use it, and it does not hurt the fish. It is basically turns into like silicone or plastic when it's in water, so nothing leaches out of it, and it's perfectly safe for all fish. The light that we're going to use is this little clip-on magnet LED light that I bought from PetSmart, and it works really, really well. It's cheap, it's about 15 bucks or so, and I use it on some of my other nano tanks, and it grows plants really well, much cheaper than other lights that you could find, and I think if it's cheap and it works, might as well use it. We're going to start off by planting our epiphyte plants. And epiphyte plants are plants that do not get planted in the substrate. Instead, they are glued down to things like rocks and driftwood and added to the hardscape. And we have narrow-leaf Java Fern, Anubias Petite, and some Buce. And these are all smaller leafed plants, perfect for nano aquariums. So next, we're going to be adding in our mid-ground and foreground plants. And we've got some dwarf sage, some S. repens, and some Crypt Beckettii that we are going to be using in this scape. Now we're going to be adding our background plants. We're going to be using lots of stem plants, and these are perfect because they grow very quickly and they pull lots of nutrients out of the water column and will act as the bulk of our plant filtration. That is all the plants I'm going to be adding. Now I'm going to fill up the tank and just see how everything's sitting. We plant anything that ends up floating up. So there we go, our tank is now all filled up. All the plants are in. I've replanted everything that floated up, and our fish are going to come in just about a week, and I will give you guys an update then and show you guys the fish that we end up putting in here. It has now been a week since we set our bowl up, and everything's doing really, really well. Our stem plants have started growing. There's some new roots down here, as you can see, of the dwarf sage. Everything's doing really well, and our fish have arrived. There are, looks like 3 tiger endlers, and I got these off of Aquabid, and they look really nice. They've been sitting in the room acclimating, and there's no heater on this tank because endlers don't need a heater. The room is about 68 degrees and the water temperature is right at 68 degrees as well, which is perfect for these guys. So they've been acclimated, and now we're going to add them to their new home. So there we go, we've added them in, and I got a little glimpse of the male, and there's looks like a female. And they're gonna be perfect in this aquarium. They'll settle in. I've added in some beneficial bacteria to get things started, and yeah, they'll hopefully breed in here a whole bunch. They won't get much bigger than this, and they're absolutely wonderful for this bowl. And I'll make sure to provide updates on this bowl as things go along. Thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you all in the next one.